So looking at where we are now, we've come a long way in the last few years. Really started production 5 years ago. We've had annual growth, pretty instrumental in the last couple of years. But really a bit of a transformative transaction. We acquired 2 African assets from our partner Glencore last August. And really that propelled us into a top 10 global zinc producer. And we'll take a look at where the assets are. Roughly speaking, about 55% of our production comes from Africa, Burkina Faso and Namibia. And the remaining comes from the Americas, Peru and Canada. We'll look at our resources. Everything remains open for expansion. Again, we took the position, let's build the mines, let's de-risk them. Commodity prices are low, so we're up and running. When zinc, try and time the cycle as best you can, which you never will be able to do so. But certainly now is get the drill rigs turning, start growing the resource bases and adding to those lives of mine. We'll have a look. Obviously, zinc's hitting 10, 12-year highs at the moment. Probably got some a little bit more upside potential to them, but certainly the margins are hitting about 50% at this point in time. And even on a long-term basis, they should still throw off a pretty healthy cash as well. So what do we look at this year? Our consolidated production will be about 400, close to probably 430 million pounds payable zinc, about 50 million pounds of lead and a little bit of byproduct silver. Our costs are about, call it 70, 75 cents per pound net of byproduct. So again, at 160, whatever we are today, zinc, pretty healthy margins. And you can see geographically where we are there in the bottom right. So what's the capital structure look like? Like I said, primary listing is on the TSX. We do have a secondary listing in Lima. Our first mine, Santander, it was in Peru. Shares outstanding about 830 million, give or take, giving us a market cap of about 1.3 billion as well. Major shareholders, a lot of the usual suspects. Glencore is a major shareholder. They own about 25% of the company. So net between institutions and Glencore, about 75% is held. Pretty broad coverage, mainly by North American analysts, given where the home base is, but all overwhelmingly buy recommendations for the stock, given where not many ways to play zinc at this point in time. And let's have a look at our leverage. I mean, roughly 85, 86% revenues derived from zinc. Certainly compared to some of our peers, such that they are, massive torque to the commodity. You can see our kind of estimated EBITDA and cash flow at current spot prices. Approximately, these are all US dollars. Free cash in the kind of 200, 240 million free cash range this year anticipated. So again, pretty, as I mentioned, very healthy margins at current zinc prices. Debt EBITDA, just some more of the financial metrics. Certainly by the end of the year, it'll be about 0.4. So again, very low, using kind of broadly current spot. And you can see our all-in sustaining, call it 85 cents per pound. So again, very strong margins. Certainly the analyst recommendations, they're forecasting, roughly significantly higher than where the stock price is at this point in time. And you can see our enterprise value to our EBITDA it is actually still quite low. So we feel there's certainly more value to be had there, about 3.4. Probably our peer groups are in the kind of closer to 4.5 to 5 range in that one. And we're estimating, cash flow per share, call it, in the 30 cents range this year based at current spot prices. So where are the assets? What do they look like? We won't go into huge amounts of detail. Why do we like them? Burkina Faso, obviously known for gold, or West Africa in general. We are the only base metal mine there. It is a VMS, so certainly we've got a very aggressive exploration plan there. We've staked probably close to 400 square kilometers. Never been any exploration for zinc, period, in the belt. But we do see some potential there. We've got lookalike targets compared to the active mine. And we like the grade. At 15% zinc, it's either the highest or second highest zinc mine in production globally at this point in time, depending on what Teck's doing with the Red Dog mine. Very high recoveries, so approximately a third of our production comes out of this one relatively small mine. And you can see there, and we're located in the center of the country, about 150, 160 k's due west of Ouagadougou. Jumping to Canada, Bathurst Mining Camp, traditional Canadian VMS camp. We actually control a lot of deposits here, so we're deposit rich, and we only have one mill, so certainly we're looking at how to optionality on those ones. The current active mine is the Caribou mine. Mine about 1 million tons a year, and produce broadly quite a lot of zinc on an annual basis, close to about 85 million pounds payable. Really as well, what we're looking at is some of the other advanced projects. So, we don't look at it as the life of mine, we're looking at what is the life of mill. And certainly at the moment, we're scheduling in our Restigouche mine, and we've also got our Half Mile and Stratmat deposits as well. So we've got about 10 million tons, roughly speaking, all categories of Caribou. It does remain open for expansion. And then we've got about another 20 million tons in various truckable assets within truckable distance, call it 20 kilometers of that centralized mill facility. So this one's more of a logistics, typical Canadian VMS camp strategy we're pursuing. Jumping down to Namibia, Rosh Pinah mine has been in operation for almost 50 years. Certainly, it's always had an 8-year life of mine. It was semi-state owned for most of that time frame. Really, now it's, if you found it today, it's roughly 45 million tons at 8 to 10% zinc, so it is a tier 1 asset. Our opinion, it's been mined, and we only acquired it and closed the transaction late August. But certainly, if you found this one today, you'd be certainly mining it at a much higher throughput rate. So these are some of the studies we're doing in the background. And like I said, it's never really been explored effectively in our opinion, so definitely lots more tons to be found there as well. And in general, that whole belt is underexplored from a zinc perspective. And then finally, our Santander mine in Peru. Really, it was our first mine, and we're up in the Altiplano near Cerro de Pasco, if any of you know the kind of central mineral belt. Relatively low grade, but actually it's one of our more efficient mines, and more from a cost perspective. Very effective mining. Obviously, Peru's got a very long history of underground mining there as well, and it kicks out close to 60 million pounds of payable zinc a year. Again, just because we're focusing on building the mines, really, obviously, exploration unfortunately takes back seat. Really, now that they're up and running, they're working efficiently. The real push this year, next year, and kind of our 3 to 5 year plan is exploration. So it's drill off the deposits effectively, and we currently have 10 rigs turning. Aim to do a minimum of about 60,000 meters drilling this year, but obviously contingent on success, those rigs will keep turning. And we do have a track record. We grew the company from an exploration success, and certainly replacing reserves on an annual basis, relatively low risk in our opinion. But I think growing the resources as well, which may lead to production decisions further down the line, contingent on studies. We think there's certainly a very high priority at certainly both the African assets and at our Santander mine as well. A little bit about who we are. Really, we're base metal specialists. Most of our career has been in zinc. A lot of us are ex-Anglo American and or Rio stable. So you can see there. So pretty comfortable in this space. We've certainly built, operated mines of this size before. And you can see our director list there as well. Some pretty well-known names, certainly in North America. We do have 2 Glencore members on the board. When Glencore invested in the company in 2012, we asked them to join. So the global head of zinc sits on our board as well. So certainly that gives us nice intel on what they're thinking about zinc, and given that they do dominate zinc space, and certainly that's one of the commodities they're most bullish on. Supply demand, I'm not going to go into. I know I'm pretty much up on time. Certainly we see a lot more upside on zinc. Yes, it is cyclical, but certainly what we're encouraged is we're not seeing the Chinese mine supply, which historically you've seen every other zinc cycle that comes in and generally quashes or mutes the rally. Everything was making great margins last year, even better margins this year, and Chinese zinc mine production was down 6-7%. So certainly we think this one may be a bit different, it may have a little bit longer legs to it. There are some new uses again, but certainly modest growth, and there is some potential there. So I think that's pretty much it. The resource bases are there, but certainly myself and Steve Stacku are here for the next few days, so please pop by, say hello, if you haven't already done so. Thank you.